Hello and welcome to another episode of 207 Aikido. Recently I've been editing the Kono seminar from October 2010 in Burlington, and there was one technique that he sort of threw out there to illustrate a point. He didn't really go over it a lot, but it looked really interesting to me, so we've experimented with it in class for the past couple of classes. So the technique is a hikitaoshi or an oshitaoshi. Janine is going to lift up my elbow, and then from here she can push me down.
You're not going to give me a message which way to move. Right. So when she's never going to push this way, because if she did, she's telling me to move, so I'm just going to move the way, right? Right.
And the idea for this technique, for me, is to feel Janine wanting to move my arm and to use that against her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my arm straight. I want to be out at the fingertips, and as Janine tries to move my arm, I'm going to use my arm as an antenna and translate that motion to my feet. So as Janine moves, I'm going to move my feet, and I'm trying to stay connected. And then once I find that pivot point, I'm gonna go out with it. The idea on a lot of the techniques that Kono Sensei does, as I understand them, is to make the technique happen closer and closer to the mutual center. So I want my fingers, all my attention to be out at that center point. And as Janine tries to move my arm, I'm going to try to reacquire that center point by moving my feet. I really want to leave my arm just as it is. And then once I feel like I'm at that center point again, then this whole assembly moves very easily because it's at a pivot point. And then from there, I can just move down. So as Janine goes. And then the next step that Kono does is he shortens up his techniques by translating that foot motion into a dip. And so Janine is trying to introduce this curve into the system. And what I want to do is take that curve out. Rather than take it out with my arm, I want to take it out with my feet. That allows me to keep my arm parallel. My arm does rotate up, but I'm not losing that, what Aikikai people would call an unbendable arm. So I'm here, and then I can just go down, because I've stayed at that pivot point. Let's do that one as slow as possible here. And then the last thing, Kono didn't do this technique very quickly, but he does some techniques very, very quickly when he wants to make a point. Last night, what we realized he's doing, he's staying closer and closer to that pivot point. The faster I can get to that pivot point, the faster the technique happens. And in fact, in an ideal world, if I was at that point, the technique would happen immediately. So as soon as Janine moved, so if I'm at that pivot point, as soon as Janine moves, I can throw her. So the key really is, if I can keep my attention at that pivot point and feel Janine go, then it can happen very, very quickly. Kono always is telling people to do it slowly and you'll feel it better. But every once in a while it's nice to convince yourself that it is possible to do these things very quickly. So we've got a long ways to go, and there's a number of techniques from his seminar that I'm sure we'll experiment with. And hopefully we'll present some more of those to you. But that's it for now. Thanks a lot.
When she puts it here, she's not going to give me any message which way to go. She's just going to read my message. So I don't get any message to do anything.